Good afternoon, Josef Forstmayr, Hotel and Villas in Montego Bay, and the President of the Caribbean Hotel and Tourist Association.
Well, let's start with Round Hill first, Joseph. You're very much on the new year and a health tip to kickstart the new year.
We are having a fantastic winter season, and one of the things we opted to do again this year to introduce our guests to the best and freshest of dining experiences. And we have added a beautiful new restaurant called The Grill at Round Hill. And we also have a lovely organic farm at the property where we grow most of our organic fruits and vegetables. And the highlight at the Grill is a wonderful fresh salad bar and fresh produce. Now we have also begun a new program called Farm to Table Dining, where we invite the local fishermen and the local farmers that grow organic chickens to highlight some of their products as well, so that the guests really get a very direct experience. And it's amazing what it actually does to our guest satisfaction level, because it really hits the right note for everyone who wishes now to become healthier, eat better and fresher.
And it also helps the local economy as well.
Absolutely. It gives again focus to our linkages program, as we call it. You know, how can tourism benefit the local community, and how can the local community grow and benefit from the tourist industry? And it strengthens the bond, which is very, very important.
And that also ties very closely with your role as president of CHTA, and Tourism is Key campaign.
Yes, tourism is key has been my motto for the last 2 years in my presidency. It hinges on 4 pillars. One is advocacy with our governments and people. 2 linkages to grow and further the linkages between the tourist industry and local production. Regional integration, which means make it easier for people to travel from island to island, less visas, less bureaucracy. And 4, regional marketing, which has, through the Caribbean Tourism Development Company, become really, really, really important, where we pool our resources as countries in the Caribbean to promote brand Caribbean properly. And I'm very, very excited that I've been able, over the past 2 years, really give it a voice. I mean, we have always done many of these things, but giving it as a voice under a banner that's easily recognizable and that is adopted now by the public sector and the private sector. And if nothing else, when we hand over my presidency to the incoming president on June 16 in Montego Bay at the Caribbean Tourism Summit, which will happen there from the 14th to the 16th of June at the Montego Bay Convention Center, we will have a big celebration where we will celebrate 50 years of Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association founding, as well as the fact that we bring in a new president that takes over, who is Richard Dumaine from Bolongo Beach in St. Thomas.
Now, the work that you've been campaigning for, which highlights would you like seeing carrying on to the next presidency?
I must say, when I came in as a president 2 years ago, I must have hit probably the worst period in terms of our economic cycle. And therefore it was very important that we remained positive, that we are in an industry that is driven by positive PR. And I think, you know, my passion for the island of Jamaica and for the Caribbean, you know, was to showcase all that is best. And fortunately, despite the fact that we did have a difficult economic environment, most of the islands were prepared. I mean, our industry prepared itself for the downturn. We went out and became aggressive in terms of attracting new and better airlift, which happened certainly in some of our islands. And so we didn't have as much of a downturn as could have been expected. Some islands actually never had a downturn. And so in hindsight, 2 years later, I would say that tourism is key as a message worked. It brought together the public and the private sector more than ever before. We speak with one voice now. I have to give a lot of credit to the chairman of the Caribbean Tourism Organization, who is the Minister of Tourism and Transportation from St. Kitts and Nevis, that is Ricky Scaritz, who has been a real sort of greater than great man. I mean, he has reached out to us. He has brought us to the table. We have certainly, you know, paved the way for better cooperation. And now I would say we certainly try to get, while we never agree on everything, public and private sector, but I think from a from a visibility point of view. We have just concluded the last CHDA marketplace in Atlantis in the Bahamas in January, and we had 18 ministers of tourism in attendance. Now this is a private sector event, the biggest marketing event for the Caribbean, and it has always been sort of interesting for the public sector, but it has never been as supported. And now we have full support. It's very exciting because our partners in the international travel business see now the Caribbean as a very strong, connected and working together brand.
And your thoughts on airlift and how that can be improved to help your region economically and in particular travel and tourism?
Well, there are two things that I'd like to see. One is the removal of barriers between our islands. And that means everything from excessive fees and taxation to forms, to visas, etc. In order to make it easier to travel between, so that our people themselves can become visitors in their own destinations. Because right now it's just too complicated sometimes, and the airlift is too fragmented between the islands. I mean, that needs to improve. Now, second, we have to build strong alliances with valuable brands that need to be in the region, and be they from other parts of the world. I would love to see an Emirates sort of coming into the Caribbean as a strong brand to sort of lift people into the Caribbean and then transport them further to Latin America or North America. I mean, I would love to see a hubbing situation where an strong international brand that wishes to take market share from some of the US carriers to come in and set up business in the Caribbean. Anywhere in the Caribbean would be preferable. Now, needless to say, our American, US partners, Canadian partners, I would encourage them to look more to the Caribbean as a potential market. While it doesn't provide a lot of seats for the front of the plane, it certainly provides tremendous connectivity with an audience which may use them afterwards, through all their travel that they do on business. I mean, the Caribbean still has the most demand and the most eclectic group of visitors anywhere in the world. And they once they travel to the Caribbean, they are prone to travel anywhere else in the world. So therefore, it's important from a brand building point of view for an airline as well. It will never be an area that will attract massive, outgoing or incoming travel business. It's just not possible. The islands are too small, and we have a maximum of 40 million people in the entire region of the Caribbean. It's just not big enough. However, it certainly can help any kind of airline brand to get established and to get access to other markets and new markets.
And on the MICE level now, you have the infrastructure in the Montego Bay Convention Centre with the air hubs to support it. I mean, there's no reason in the world why the Caribbean shouldn't become a real hub for businesses and conferences.
We have, remember, Anton, we had a wonderful program in place to promote the Caribbean, and the slogan was "Life needs the Caribbean," and I think that is so true. As a matter of fact, life needs the Caribbean more so now than ever before. I mean, the Caribbean lifestyle, the Caribbean music, the sexiness of the people, the incredible foods, the simple sort of let it all hang out and relax and get away from some of the ultimate pressures of everyday life, including everyday entertainment life. I mean, so that you really get in touch with yourself again. And if you can combine that with a conference, with a meeting, and make it easier to get to, I mean, it's a win-win altogether.
Okay, Joseph, well, thanks very much for joining us here at ITB.
Thank you so much. Thank you.